Hey guys, how you doing today? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day. Nice and clear. No wind whatsoever, finally. So your ears are going to be nice and spared today. Uh, the big news that's going on right now, without a shadow of a doubt, is that Rogers has bought Shaw for $26 billion. Shaw is a provincial, sort of small scale mobile provider, internet provider. And of course, Rogers just scoops it up, right? There's no way to interpret this other than the classical big fish eats up little fish, right? Like, capitalism requires ever-growing businesses. That the mantra amongst the capitalists is, if you're not growing, you're dying. There is no thought process for sustainability. There is no thought process for we grow to this point and then we stop. That the mantra of capitalism is always more. And an institution like Rogers is always going to buy up more, right? It won't be a matter of time before Tech Savvy is bought up. It won't be a matter of time until all of these other small retailers that exist in the world just get bought up over and over and over again. And what we're left with is the monopoly of Rogers, Telus, Bell, right? I've talked about them before on the channel. It's very straightforward, guys. Canadians pay the highest rates for mobile and internet in the developed world, right? We pay the highest rates. There's no one even close to us. And there's a very good reason for that, right? We have a monopoly that has taken over our market, right? Just like the housing market, just like every other market that exists in Canada. That we pretend as though capitalism allows, a bunch of small people can come and actually participate in this process. It's completely false. It's completely false. Even if you were to actually go and break these places up and insist, no, you can't own 40% of the market share. No, you can't own 30%, 20% of the market share. It wouldn't matter. Because if you went and actually took the effort and the time to actually smash these places up in a very short order and in a very short amount of time, they would all just purchase each other back up again. The monopoly would reestablish itself, rebrand itself, would come under a different name, would hide itself behind a series of shell corporations and shell companies, right? And then it would continue to go along its merry way until discovered again, in which the process would renew itself, right? So this is the classic capitalist situation, which is, we can't have a structural situation that creates structurally a society that works for the benefit of everyone. If you want to change something in the capitalist system, and if you want to work against the interests of the capitalists, you need to organize on massive scales, get yourselves together. And this is just for one single issue. This is just for one single thing you have to do this, right? That this is how capitalism wants the society to have to grow, right? That capitalists can, just by the course of the natural unfolding of the capitalist system, enrich themselves, grow their businesses, get big and large, destroy the civil society, destroy the species along with it. And that's the natural flow of the structure of capital. And if you want to change even one thing within that structure, even one thing within that structure, you have to organize enormous amounts of resources, enormous amount of labor power, enormous amounts of effort in order to get even one thing done, which then the capitalists will just turn around, and guess what? The structure of capitalism will just collapse back into what they were doing in the first place. So all your effort and all your fighting and all of that kind of stuff ends up just being like a minor little hurdle to them, right? Because the system itself is corroded. If you're one of those people who dive out of the video at about the 5-minute mark, thanks for coming, thanks for listening. Thanks for clicking on that video. Please make sure to subscribe. Please make sure to like this video, right? Liking is free to do. Subscribing means that you get more of this kind of stuff. I do daily videos. And hey, you don't have a commie in your feed. I know that's true. I could be the commie in your feed. So, what can be done about this, right? We've got Rogers, which has taken over an enormous amount of the share of the market, is expanding that share of the market by purchasing Shaw. And this alliance between the trifecta of Rogers, Bell, Telus, like, they're not really a different business, right? Like, think about this. If you are a shareholder, right, and you own 10% of the shares of Bell, 10% of the shares of Telus, and 10% of the shares of Rogers, right? Do you own shares in 3 companies, or are you just a major shareholder in the conglomerate that is these businesses, right? That capitalism and corporate capitalists are doing finagly little legal tricks and financial tricks, but the reality is that this is one organization that operates in tandem. It's like how the liberals and the conservatives are a single organization that actually work together, right? How they're actually allied with one another politically and work against the interests of the populace. The same is true of Bell, Rogers, Telus, right? And the capitalist system not only allows this, but insists that this is the way that the system needs to be structured. So what can be done? We nationalize, right? We nationalize these organizations. There's a communications network that exists that we require to do basic things, right? If forget about, like, oh, I want to talk to my family. Oh, forget about, I want to know about the world, right? Everything's digital now and online. You need these communication networks in order to do business at all, right? You need them. And so if you have a commodity that everyone needs and you know that they need it, well, how much are you going to charge for that? Yeah, that's right. As much as you possibly can, right? As much as you possibly can. We're seeing this kind of logic unfold in the healthcare debate system, or healthcare system debate down in the United States. How they haven't yet nationalized their system. They don't have a single-payer government-run system, right? And it's having enormous negative effects. Well, the same logic applies here. These guys can jack the price. They can make life harder for people because they operate in a free market, right? Which, when you actually pause and think about it, is just saying we should live in chaos, right? Let the market decide, let chaos decide. Well, no, how about we actually get together, make some decisions, say, hey, these organizations should not be run by independent private owners, because people require this to function. The government requires this to function. Everything requires the communications network to actually function in a modern society and in a complex society. We should take this stuff away from these parasitic capitalists who do no work and offer nothing to us. The fact that we would remove them, the fact that we would remove the capitalists from the equation in the first place, would be enough to drop the price of the value of the commodity in the first place, right? Your mobile price will go down if we get rid of these guys. Why? Because we're not paying for them, right? Remember, they offer no value. They do no work. They add nothing extra. They are just there to take the surplus labor away from the populace and jam it in their offshore accounts, right? The old conservative way of talking about things, how, oh, well, they'll reinvest it into society. No, they won't, right? They'll use their offshored wealth to buy up competitors. That's the most you'll get. They'll buy a politician. They'll buy these kinds of things, right? So the liberals, of course, have said that they are interested in confronting this. They're just doing that classic thing that liberals do, right? Which is, oh, I care about that issue that you care about, for sure. I'm not going to do anything about it, but I'm telling you that I care about it. That's what liberals do, and that's what liberals are, right? They're these two-faced liars who aren't interested in helping you at all. They're just interested in convincing you that they're interested in helping you. And which, as I've said over and over again on this channel, that makes them worse than conservatives, because conservatives are not going to lie to you about this. Conservatives are just going to tell you you suck, and that you need to work harder, and that if you wanted to change this, well, you can go buy some stock in this and go vote as a shareholder and all this kind of stuff. That it's delusional, right? It's delusional on the face of it, but you know, at least they're not lying, right? At least they genuinely believe the bullshit that they say. At least they genuinely believe it. Whereas liberals don't believe anything, right? They'll tell you whatever they think you want to hear. And they'll say, oh yeah, absolutely, we're friends. Let's go along with this kind of thing. So again, as always, right? We need to organize in third-party, non-affiliated political parties, or political organizations rather, such as Socialist Action, which is in the description below. We need to organize in third-party organizations to get in voting blocks in order to dismantle this system. Because it's not enough. It's not enough to simply say, oh, we'll nationalize. Like, imagine if you had the political force in order to actually nationalize these places, right? Which we should definitely do. We need to be dismantling the system that continually propagates this nonsense. We need to dismantle it from the bottom to the top. That we have parasites in our society which do no work, which offer no value, which don't participate in the civil society outside of bribing our political class and continuously structuring the system so that they don't have to do anything and we have to do everything. While we get paid a meager stipend and they get paid literally everything. There's no reason for anyone to tolerate this system. There's no reason for anyone to tolerate this system. And the apologists for this system are really starting to reveal themselves to be just death knights who don't value human life, who want people to sacrifice their whole lives in order to prop up this monster that's just going around and gobbling up smaller fish. And like, we are to a point now where $26 billion, a $26 billion purchase is a small fish. Like, this is how absurd this has gotten. This is how ridiculous this has gotten. That steadily, over time, it's just going to get to the point where the only way to actually enter the market is to have $50 billion in your back pocket. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. This is a system that is steadily eating itself up and destroying itself. Some people even say that it already has. That we're all just sort of waiting for the bottom to drop out of it. And more I'm seeing people who are being abandoned by this system over and over again. Like, we keep talking about how are we gonna build back, right? Well, you know how we build back? We get rid of these capitalists, right? Because the capitalists aren't actually interested in building back. They're interested in ruling in hell instead of living in heaven, right? They would rather be the rulers of a burnt out, exhausted, destroyed populace than be equals in a place that's doing okay, right? That is the truth of how the capitalists operate. That is the truth of what we are witnessing today. We need to organize. We need to dismantle this. We need to nationalize the communications network. We need to get rid of these guys. Like, and I'm just going to keep saying it until it happens. We're going to will it into existence, right? Okay, guys, this is the end of this video. If you've made it to the end of this video, you have to subscribe. Those are the rules, right? Please like it. Please share it. Piss off your conservative uncles and aunts and family members and all that. Don't tolerate their nonsense. And most importantly, guys, don't let them gaslight you, right? They want you to convince you that the experience that you're having is an individualized experience. They want you to believe that you are alone, that you are isolated, that your ideas are weird and strange and unique to you, so that they can say, oh, that's just kooky, commie nonsense, right? There are lots of people in the world who think like you, right? You just don't get to find them because your communication network's been taken over by capitalists. Why would they ever try to spread around any kind of socialist or communist idea? You guys are doing great. Everything you're doing out in the world is wonderful. I know you're trying as hard as you can. I know you're working as hard as you can. Good luck. We're going to need it.